Okay, so we're gonna just open up our file here, the last one that we saved, which was retop 0001, and we no save. And then I'm just gonna delete this back camera because we're not really using it right now. And then I'm going to go to the main mesh that I brought over from ZBrush and just hit Control 1 to isolate. And what I want to do is just grab these. So since these brows are actually pretty low poly already, I'm just going to grab these ones. And so if you right click and just drag down to face, and then just double click on those, and those should be highlighted for us. And then if you go to mesh, actually it's under edit mesh, and we'll say duplicate, so we just duplicate those faces. Okay, and then we'll just hit the plus sign on that mascot mesh. So this is going to show that we have the brows are broken out, and then we have the main surface as well. So we're going to just take these two, and then if you hold down Shift P, that will unparent them from the actual mascot mesh group node that's showing here. So with this one, we can also delete by type history on that guy, and then this should put us back to actually delete all by type history, and so that is still under. So with these, so these are the brows. So I'm just going to actually name these. So left brow and right brow. All right. And then I'm also going to copy, since the belt buckle and the belt are actually fairly low poly as well. So if I select the belt and the belt buckle and go to edit mesh, duplicate, and then this should break these off as copies as well. Okay, so with that we'll have, yep, the belt buckle and the belt. So actually we'll just call this buckle, and this is going to be the belt. And I'm just going to select those two and Shift P. And then this one, I'm actually going to delete by type history. Actually delete all by type history. And then I'm actually going to just Shift P to get this one out. This is our old high poly, so I'm just going to name this high poly. And just get rid of this guy right here. So should just have our high poly showing currently, and so actually I'm just gonna select that and say Control H just to hide that, and then go back to Control 1, bring all that other stuff back. So with these, so our brows, actually I'm just going to select all these, so the low poly, left brow, right brow, belt, and the buckle, and from there I'm actually going to hit mesh and combine, and that just will replace that with a mascot low poly one. So from here I'll actually just delete the history on that as well. So from here, we just don't have any loops coming up over the, so we're sitting about 4,500 tries. So that's what so we still want to get those teeth and the tongue into his mouth as well. So with that, I'm actually going to go back to the high poly and hit Shift H to bring him back, and then I'm going to hide the low poly. And in here I just want to get to this mouth. Okay, so the best way to probably approach this would be to select the faces. So if you just go to face and then just hit double click on a face, I'm assuming that's going to, so if we invert this selection, so I think it's under select, inverse, and then control 1, that should bring, so we're just actually hiding the face there. So there's our teeth. So we want all this right here. So we're going to select all that, and actually I will probably just do another edit mesh, duplicate, alright, so that should, and then that brings back the other stuff that we have. So with that, we should be able to, I think this bottom one's going to be the whole thing. So I'm just going to Shift P that, and then just name this high poly. So this is the one that we, and then all these others are going to be the teeth. So if we hit Control 1, just to see, so yeah, so if we hit Control 1, we're actually just seeing those teeth, the teeth and the tongue right now. So one way to do this would be to, so we want to combine these in a certain way. So with that, I'm just going to actually go to object mode and then just select these. So these are going to be the top teeth, and I'm going to want to combine those. And so just name these top teeth, and these bottom ones, I'm just going to select the bottom teeth. So I'm just holding down Shift and left clicking, Shift and left click. Okay, and then go to Mesh, Combine, and name this bottom teeth, and then the tongue. I'm going to select that tongue, and we'll also just leave that one, and just I'm going to actually name it tongue, and then Shift P to unparent. And from these ones, we can actually select those, select all of these and say edit, delete by type history. And then that should bring us back to this. And so this one we can unhide by holding Shift H, and then go back to Control 1. This brings everything back. Alright, so what we're going to do is just take the top teeth, and I'm just going to Control 1 just to make sure that those are the only things that we're seeing right now. And then I'm actually just create a, going to create a plane, and we will adjust that plane to the actual teeth, the teeth shape. So to do that, we're going to say create polygon primitives, and then just create a plane, and then that plane should be down here, and I'm just going to bring that up in Y. And so from here, actually I'm just going to scale that guy up all together, and then also flip, not flip, but actually rotate in X. So rotate in X, and then we want to actually snap to snap to view planes. Not to view planes. So, yeah, J. Forget, it's the J key, and that will actually go in degrees. And so from here, I'm just going to bring this forward and up here, and then probably just scale in Z, and also bring this guy up. So I'm just trying to match up basically teeth-wise, like the scale, the size of the teeth. Alright, then from here we can actually just put a bend modifier. So to do that, we're going to deform and nonlinear bend, and if we go to the channel box, we can actually see the curvature that we're looking for here. So alright, with this bend modifier, if we rotate that in, actually if we just hold snap with J, and then with the curvature we can adjust, with the curvature, adjust this, and so here, we can actually copy this, and here we can adjust. And so I'm just going to make a copy of this. So duplicate is Control D, and here you can actually just bend that out a little bit, and then also spread that out, and also we can rotate into place just so we get those teeth kind of forming around that same. So here we'll just kind of throw that back there, and then we can also place a new bend modifier. So from these two we can actually delete and then select this top one, and then also go to deform nonlinear bend, and then rotate that around Z plane. So Z, we want this to be 180. Well, not 180. Nope. Let's get that in the general vicinity. And with that curvature, we can actually just curve that out a little bit more, and then scale as well. Kind of get that a little closer. Alright, and then here we can actually duplicate that again, delete those, and name these, name this teeth, top teeth, low. And from here we can go to the attribute editor, and with that shape, let's see here. It's actually scaling that out a little bit more. Also bring it a little forward. All right. So on this we can actually freeze our transforms. So now that places it back to 0. And also I'm going to hit Control 1 twice. And here, what I should have done was actually got, before I started this, and I'll do that with the low teeth. But from here, if we go to our modeling toolkit and select our verts, and select all these guys, and say merge vertices to center, and same here, we want to select all these ones right here. Hold down Shift, Control Shift, and here, merge vertices to center. And you can hit the G key to actually just last modifier that you used. You just hit the G key. So I'm just clicking, double clicking, hitting G, clicking, double clicking, hitting G. And I'm just getting rid of these extra polygons which aren't needed. So that'll be okay. Alright, so we'll go out of that, and then Control 1 to just come back to where we were at, and then the bottom teeth we want to just Control 1. Actually, we're going to take the top teeth low and the bottom teeth and Control 1, and then that way we can actually just select this top teeth low, duplicate, and then we'll name this bottom teeth low, and then we can actually just rotate this into place. Just kind of push this back and also just shrink it down a little bit just so these teeth actually a little smaller. Just rotate that up. So with those, the smaller teeth, and then actually I'm just going to move them back just a little bit so they're not actually touching, and actually rotate in Y just ever so slightly. Just push a little forward and move those up. That should be okay. I'm actually going to scale that a little bit in Z, or in Y actually. And then so with the bottom teeth, so we can actually just Control 1 and just bring those back. So top teeth and bottom teeth are recreated, so we can actually just delete those. And with the tongue, we just Control 1. And then for this tongue, we're going to actually just, we'll actually make this a live surface and then go to Quad Draw and also turn on wireframe on shading. And from here, oh, actually as well, we want to turn symmetry object X on. And with this tongue, we don't need it to be as elaborate, so we can actually just cut this down quite a bit. And you'll notice as you get better with retopologizing, goes a lot faster. Just want to make sure that you're making the same amount of loops as well. So here, actually, just making sure that we got enough loops here. There we go. Let's move this guy down. Actually, there's going to be a triangle right here, and we can actually just go multi-cut and just make sure that triangle is coming that way on that one. So that comes to a point like so, then go back to Quad Draw, and we can move these back. And from here, oops, so to make sure that that lines up on that plane. like so. And from here, I'll just make, whoops, just want to make sure that that matches up. There we go. Alright, so there's a small tongue there, or a small poly version, low poly version, so we can just call this tongue low. And then we control 1 to get out of that. And turn off quad draw, and also uncheck the live surface and turn off symmetry as well. So now with we can select that tongue and delete it, no longer needed. And then the high poly, we can just control H to hide him. So now we can see those teeth. And so with those teeth, I actually want to, I'm actually going to turn on, hit the 4 button, and then also take these top row verts, actually top row verts, so Control Shift, select those top verts, and we're going to just actually translate those up, just so they're kind of out. And you can hit 5 just so you can see those are going up into the gums. And also, it looks like we want to take those, the lower as well. So we'll grab those bottom lower teeth and then select the verts for that. So this one, we'll just Control Shift, select these guys, and just grab W key, and then we want to translate in object mode. So there we go. Just hit 5. Just kind of look and see how that's looking. Actually, I want to grab those top teeth and just kind of scale them out a little bit in X. There we go. Alright, and then back to object mode. And here we can see that we have, so we'll grab those, the teeth and the tongue, and we'll select the low poly and go to Mesh Combine. And then we'll also delete by type history. Delete all by type history. And these guys we can delete. So this should be our full body with all of our teeth and everything. So we can just select that and say mascot low. All right. So just kind of giving him a look over, and then actually going to turn off wireframe unshaded, just to kind of take a look, see how that looks. All right, and from here we can actually save. So we just want to do increment and save again, just go to version 2. And so now we just need to add those eyeballs. And so to add those eyes, I want to just create a polygon sphere. And probably I'm going to go with 12 just to start. And we'll just frame that just to see. It's pretty small, so we're going to actually scale that up. And just make sure that we're on the, and then we're going to rotate. So if you hold down the J key, that'll snap. And from here, we'll just move this guy up into space. Alright, this looks, so we just want to scale that down. A little forward. Scale down. And actually I'm just rotating out a little bit. Moving this into place. So I'm going to make sure that this eyeball kind of sits almost like the other one. So we can bring that high poly back. So Shift H will bring that back. And we can grab that sphere and try to match it up with this, with the other one. Might have to just scale it down just a touch. And then just bring that forward again.